Welcome, dear Libra. If you are hearing these words right now, it may not be by chance. There are moments in life when we do not need more information. What we need is confirmation. A sign clear enough to remind us that the unfamiliar feeling we carry is real. January 2026 does not arrive to disrupt your life. It arrives quietly to redirect it. Something is unfolding behind the familiar curtain, so subtle that only those who truly listen will notice. And Libra, you are in the right place at the right moment to feel it. As everything begins to slow down in this instant, you may realize that it is not life that is changing, but you standing before the very first choice of an entirely new cycle. January opens itself to Libra in a very personal way, not through dramatic events or loud turning points, but through a gentle shift in perception. You may not be able to name exactly what is changing. You only sense that the familiar rhythm of life has softened, just enough for you to finally hear yourself. There are mornings when you wake up feeling as though you are standing at the threshold of something new. Its shape is still unclear, yet it carries a quiet sense of rightness. Not impulse, not a passing urge, but a calm clarity forming deep within. Libra has always sought harmony, but this month, harmony no longer means balancing everyone else. It means having the courage to ask yourself the real questions. What do I truly want? Who am I living for? And what would happen if this time I chose the path that makes my heart feel lighter, even if it does not please everyone? These questions do not rush in. They arrive slowly, like gentle waves touching the shore, and with each return, they leave a deeper mark than before. You begin to notice that every decision this month, no matter how small, carries a different weight. The meeting you accept or decline, the words you speak or hold back, the habit you keep or finally let go. Each one is quietly shaping the direction of the months ahead. There is no pressure to do more, only a soft but steady invitation to do everything with full presence. And when you choose to truly be present in each moment, life responds with clearer signals. There may be moments when you feel uncertain, as if you're standing at a crossroads where no path is fully illuminated yet. But within that uncertainty, you are being given a rare gift, the freedom to choose through intuition instead of fear, the trust that you do not need to see the entire road in order to take the first step. When that first step is placed with honesty toward yourself, the rest of the path begins to reveal itself. And as you allow yourself to slow down in this way, you will feel a new current forming beneath your life, one that does not push you to chase, does not ask you to prove anything. It simply guides you back to the place where you truly belong. From there, nothing feels forced anymore. What follows is no longer effort, but a natural continuation of choices made from awareness and from genuine self-love. And as everything begins to move forward in this gentler way, you slowly notice something unusual. What once clung to you, what once demanded that you tense up just to endure it, no longer holds its old place in your life. Not because you made a dramatic move, not because you tried to change anyone or anything outside yourself, but simply because you no longer allow those energies to live within you. Like a room that has been closed for a long time, when the light finally pours in, the dust reveals itself, then quietly settles and falls away. You may start to feel lighter without knowing exactly why. A worry that used to visit you every night suddenly stops showing up. An invisible pressure that once sat heavy on your chest dissolves like morning mist beneath the early sun. You begin to breathe more deeply. You sleep more peacefully. And strangely enough, you no longer feel the need to explain the change to yourself. Libra does not enter this new year in a defensive posture, but with a softness that carries awareness, human, gentle, and clear. You understand now that peace does not require a fight. It only requires choosing not to carry what has already fulfilled its purpose in your life. Old memories, old emotions, even the roles you once believed were mandatory, now appear before you like worn-out layers of clothing. There is no anger, no blame, only a tender understanding that you have worn them long enough. And when you place your hand over your heart, you know it is time to take them off. not to escape, but to walk forward more lightly. This is not giving up. This is quiet maturity, the kind only those with true sensitivity can feel. You may notice that you react less to things that once shook you. You explain less. You cling less. You blame yourself less. In their place, a peaceful space begins to open, one where you can finally hear your own heartbeat clearly. Within that space, Libra touches something entirely new, the feeling of standing firmly in your own energy, without needing validation, without waiting for permission. And from that steadiness, a natural form of protection begins to form, not rigid, not closed off, but transparent and filled with light. As you continue forward in this state, you will notice that what no longer belongs leaves on its own, quietly, without disturbance. What remains carries a different quality, more honest, more warm, and you do not need to name this process. You only need to know this. Inside you, a new inner arrangement has been completed, clearing the way for what is coming next to enter your life fully and deservedly. And when that inner space has been quietly rearranged like this, you may begin to notice a feeling that is both familiar and unfamiliar. It is the feeling of absence, not a painful loss, but the absence of something that once occupied a great deal of space in your life. A conversation that no longer takes place. A path you once believed was meant for you, no longer opening in front of you. A door that is closed more decisively than you expected. At first, you may linger there a little longer, your hand still resting on the handle. A quiet question passing through your mind. What if I tried one more time? But Libra, there is a gentle truth this month brings to you. Not every closed door is a rejection. Some doors close because if you were to keep going, you would have to make yourself smaller. If you were to go any further, you would have to sacrifice the most authentic parts of who you are, just to fit into a space that no longer suits you. The universe does not close that door to punish you. It closes it so you do not walk into a place where your light would slowly fade. There may be a brief moment of regret. Regret for what you invested, for what you hoped for what you once imagined so vividly, with so much belief. But then, when you allow yourself to stand still long, enough in that silence, you begin to feel a deep layer of safety surrounding you. As if someone gently placed a hand on your shoulder and without words said, "This is far enough." Ahead of you, there is another direction, not louder, but truer. Libra begins to understand that protection does not always arrive as shields or defenses. Sometimes, protection is simply not allowing something to continue, not allowing a relationship to stretch on until it erodes your self-respect, not allowing a path to keep draining your creative energy, not allowing an old role to walk with you into the next chapter of your life. And when you finally stop turning back to look at the door that is closed, you realize you are standing straighter, breathing deeper, feeling lighter. There are steps that require no explanation. There are endings that do not need perfect closure in order to be right. Libra does not need to prove that letting go was the correct choice. All you need to feel is the quiet peace spreading through your chest. That is how you know you have been guided away from a turn that was no longer meant for you. And within that very quiet departure, the path ahead begins to reveal itself. Not rushed, not dramatic, but wide enough for you to step into it as your whole, true self. And as you walk along this newly opened path, something very subtle begins to shift inside you, without needing any explanation at all. You become more sensitive, not in a fragile way, but in a deeper, clearer, more aware way. It is as if your inner senses have been tuned to the right frequency, finally able to notice the signals you once overlooked because life was moving too fast. A passing glance from someone can suddenly carry a story. A pause between two sentences can hold more meaning than the words themselves. And in these quiet, almost invisible moments, Libra begins to sense a silent current of information flowing through. There are nights when you sleep more deeply than usual, yet your dreams feel unusually vivid, not loud, not dramatic, just familiar images that do not feel old, scenes that carry the strange sense of having been visited long ago. When you wake up, you do not feel the need to analyze or decode them. You simply know that something has touched you, leaving behind a warm afterglow, as if someone gently reminded you of a very real part of yourself. Throughout the day, brief intuitive flashes begin to appear more often. You know when to pause, when to move forward, when to stay silent, and when to speak. Not because of logic, but because the feeling in your chest becomes too clear to ignore. Libra has always been skilled at sensing others, but this month, you learn to turn that sensitivity inward. You realize that intuition is not something distant or mystical. It is the sum of your lived experience. All the moments you have walked through long enough to know what causes you to contract and what allows you to open. When you begin to trust these inner signals, you no longer feel the need to ask for so many opinions from the outside world. You start to hear what remains unspoken, not to judge, but to understand more deeply, to meet others with genuine human compassion. You may notice that you grow quieter in conversation, but not distant. In fact, your presence becomes more defined. When you listen, people feel seen. When you speak, your words carry a sincerity that invites others to slow down and truly hear you. You no longer speak just to fill space. You speak when words are necessary. And in the silences you allow, much healing takes place. Not only for you, but for those who are near you. This deepened connection does not pull you away from daily life. It allows you to enter it with a different awareness. You move through crowds without feeling lost. You spend time alone without feeling lonely. You understand now that true connection is not about how many people surround you, but about how fully you are present with yourself. When you live from that deeper place, the right relationships naturally find you. Encounters with healing energy appear at just the right moment, as if quietly arranged in advance. And within this stillness, you begin to sense a very gentle invitation. Not a push to become someone else, but a reminder that you are more ready than ever to live in alignment with your own rhythm. As you move forward with intuition as your guide, the world around you seems to adjust with you. Life slows just enough. The light softens. People become more authentic. And there, you realize that what is opening ahead does not require you to chase it. It draws closer each time you choose to trust the deepest knowing within yourself. And as you allow yourself to trust that inner current, your body begins to speak in its own quiet way. Not loudly, not with demands, just small signals, clear enough that you can no longer ignore them. A hint of fatigue arrives earlier in the evening, a morning when you wake up and realize you need a few extra minutes of stillness before stepping out into the world. Not because you are weaker, but because you have gone far enough to understand that the old rhythm no longer fits the person you are becoming. Libra is used to keeping everything running smoothly, often by placing personal needs at the very end of the list. But this month, a subtle recalibration begins to take place. You start to feel clearly that your body is not just a tool to carry out responsibilities. It is the home of your entire lived experience. When you ignore it, your mind slowly falls into disorder. When you listen, everything else naturally softens. There is no need for drastic change, no dramatic decisions, just a slight slowing of the pace. Going to bed a little earlier, eating with more kindness toward yourself, breathing more deeply in the spaces between moments of the day. There may be times when you feel as though you are carrying more than you realized. Work, emotions, invisible, expectations from others. But instead of bracing yourself like before, Libra learns how to set things down, not to abandon them, but to rearrange them. You begin to understand that not everything needs to be solved immediately. Some things need time, some need space, and some only need you to stop resisting your own current. When you allow yourself to rest without guilt, your body responds with a gentle kind of recovery. In these seemingly small acts of self-care, something much larger is happening. Your mind begins to clear. Tangled thoughts slowly loosen, not through analysis, but through presence. You can sit still, doing nothing, and still feel complete. That familiar sense of lack no longer pushes you to fill every moment with busyness. In its place, a new kind of harmony appears, a feeling of fullness that comes from living in alignment with your own rhythm. Libra begins to understand that balance is not about dividing time evenly. It is about directing energy toward what truly nourishes you. When you say no to an appointment that drains you, you are saying yes to your well-being. When you pause to breathe in the middle of a long day, you allow your nervous system to rest. And in each of these choices, you are not only caring for your body, you are sending a clear message to life itself, that you value yourself. Strangely enough, once you place yourself in the position of being cared for, everything around you begins to adjust. Work finds a new rhythm. Relationships feel lighter. Decisions that once felt heavy suddenly become clearer. As if, when you stop forcing every piece into place, they naturally find where they belong. And you do not need to control this process. You only need to keep listening, to keep treating your body and emotions with gentleness. As harmony is slowly restored, Libra moves forward with a steadier sense of footing, not because everything is perfect, but because you have stopped fighting yourself. When body and mind find a shared language again, life softens, creating space for genuine connections to enter in the most natural way possible. And as the rhythm of life grows softer in this way, you begin to notice a truth that is both simple and deeply profound. Not everyone who walked beside you through the old chapter can continue with you into this new one. This realization does not arrive as a shock. It comes like a thin mist, slowly lifting, revealing the landscape that was always there. You look back at familiar relationships with new eyes, without blame, without resentment, only with a clearer awareness of how each connection leaves you feeling after every encounter. There are people who make you feel lighter when you walk away, as if your energy has quietly been replenished. And there are others who, even without doing anything wrong, leave you feeling strangely drained, as though you had to hold yourself inside an old role that no longer fits. In the past, Libra may have ignored these sensations to keep the peace, to avoid hurting anyone. But now, you no longer dismiss these subtle signals. You understand that the feelings in your body and heart are a very real form of intelligence, and they are trying to protect you. You begin to clearly distinguish between connection and depletion, between being with someone out of love and being with them out of habit or obligation. This awareness does not make you closed off or cold. On the contrary, it allows you to be more fully present in the relationships that truly nourish you. When you stop spreading your energy across places that no longer align, you have more to give, and you give it sincerely to the people and experiences that truly deserve it. There may be moments when creating distance feels uncomfortable, not because you doubt your choice, but because you love deeply. But Libra, love does not require the sacrifice of your inner peace. You learn to say less, but with more clarity, to explain less, but with greater honesty. You begin to see that boundaries are not walls meant to divide. They are gentle outlines that allow each relationship to rest in its rightful place. Loving from a distance becomes a new and liberating understanding. You can still care. You can still wish someone well, without needing to be present in their life every single day. You realize that some connections have completed their purpose, and loosening your grip does not diminish their value. It simply allows both sides to live truthfully in the present. During this process of clearing, Libra becomes more sensitive to the spaces around you as well. You notice where you can breathe more easily, which conversations allow you to be fully yourself. You may shift habits, change environments, or simply spend more time in quiet moments. Each choice, no matter how small, is an act of self-respect, honest and real. And as relationships and surrounding energies slowly fall back into place, a sense of relief begins to spread through you. Not because there are fewer people around you, but because those who remain show up with sincerity and balance. In that space, you no longer need to try to be anyone else. You only need to be yourself, and that is enough. From that sense of inner fullness, a quiet readiness begins to form, opening the way for new experiences that are already moving closer, carrying a rhythm that is faster, clearer, and deeply aligned with who you are now. And then, as everything around you has been simplified in this very natural way, you begin to clearly sense a new kind of movement. Life no longer moves as slowly as before, but it is not rushing either. It begins to accelerate with order, as if every gear has quietly been placed back into alignment. Opportunities no longer appear scattered. They arrive in sequence, connected by a gentle logic that surprises you. Encounters come more quickly, more precisely timed, and strangely enough, you no longer have to guess whether you should take them or not. You feel the alignment from the very first moment. Libra begins to see that when you live in the right rhythm, life adjusts its pace to meet you halfway. What no longer fits leaves more quickly than before, without heavy echoes, without long goodbyes, without the hesitation that once kept you awake at night. Things arrive, fulfill their purpose, and then step aside gracefully, and you do not feel empty. On the contrary, you feel lighter, as if each release creates more space within you. Within this acceleration, there is something important that Libra begins to understand. You do not need to chase this new pace of life. You are the one who sets the rhythm. When you speak your truth with sincerity, the world responds more clearly. When you allow creativity to move through you, whether in your work, your words, or the quiet, ordinary moments of daily life, you feel more alive than ever before. No more roles to perform, no more layers to maintain. Only a human being fully present in each moment. The voice of your heart no longer whispers now. It is clear, warm, steady. You know when to speak, when to be silent, when to step forward, and when to pause. And each time you choose to listen to that voice, you feel a deep agreement with life itself. As if everything around you is gently saying, keep going, you are exactly where you need to be. Libra no longer looks outward for balance in order to feel safe. Balance now comes from allowing yourself to be fully who you are, where softness and strength exist together. You can be gentle without being weak. You can be clear without harming anyone. And that honesty, that authenticity, becomes the key that opens larger doors, not through effort, but through resonance. As January comes to a close, you may not remember the exact moment when everything changed, but you will feel it clearly. You are living in a different reality now, lighter, brighter, more aligned with who you truly are. No promises needed, no distant predictions. Required, simply continue forward with your heart as your guide. And you will see that what is opening ahead is not just a new chapter, but a new way of living. A way where you are allowed to be fully present, to be heard, and to shine in the unique way that belongs only to Libra.